everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time I'll be doing a beautiful set of acrylic ombre nails. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm going in with a coarse drill bit to remove all of the gel polish. Again, that is a coarse drill bit. And I do want to clarify that every time that I'm removing gel polish, I use a coarse drill bit because it removes it a lot faster. Now, whenever I am filing the nails after I apply the acrylic, I use a fine drill bit. The way to know which one you need to use, whether it's fine, medium, or coarse, is depending on how much product you want to remove. When I'm removing gel polish, I'm removing a lot of product, but when I'm removing, or not removing, but filing after the acrylic application, since I'm pretty good at, having a smooth application, I don't have to go back and file so much, which is why I use a fine drill bit. But if you are still struggling to get a smooth application and it's bumpy or it's too thick, then I would recommend using something a little bit more coarse, like a medium drill bit. So again, if you have to remove a lot of product like gel polish, you use a coarse drill bit. If you have to remove kind of a lot, you use a medium. And then if you just need to smooth the nail out or file around the cuticle area, then all you need is a fine drill bit. Alrighty, so after I go in and remove the gel polish, I'm going to go in with this Tammy Taylor Peel and Stay Cuticle Pusher. And I'm just pushing back those cuticles. After that, we're going to go in with a 180 sanding band to remove the shine from the natural nail. As always, whenever we're removing the shine, we want to make sure that we're not filing down too much on the natural nail. We're literally just removing the shine, and that's it. We don't want to thin out the nail. We don't want to do anything else but just remove that shiny layer from the natural nail. After I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and dust them off. And as you've seen, she is missing her middle finger on this hand. So of course I went in and measured the nail tip, applied the nail glue. As always, I used the KDS nail glue and just glued the nail tip on. After that, I'm going to measure that finger against her other middle finger, cut it down, and then make sure that you measure again to make sure that they're the right size. After that, I'm going to go ahead and file it. As always, I'm using my 100-100 nail file. And since we are doing the coffin shape, as always, we file the sides at a 45-degree angle, filing the free edge at a 90-degree angle to make sure that it's nice and straight, and then blend in the tip right in the middle. And then as you can see, I went back to compare this nail with the other nail, and I went back and made it a little bit more narrow. After that, I just dust the nails off. I applied the primer, but my camera actually went dead, or my phone went dead. But after that, I just applied the acrylic. Again, we're doing the ombre acrylic set. Is that how you say it? We're doing an acrylic ombre set. So I'm using this blue glow-in-the-dark powder. As you guys know, I mixed it myself. So all I did was use clear acrylic and put in some of the blue glow-in-the-dark powder. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description to those. But I just literally mixed them in. I didn't measure it. I just poured some glow-in-the-dark powder into the clear acrylic. So I'm going to go ahead and do the blue on all of the tips. As always, for my brush, I'm using my Alpha brush in a number 9. As you guys know, I recently posted a video about how to break in your brush. So if you haven't watched that, I'll be sure to leave that down in the description. But again, this is my alpha brush in the number 9, and I do have a promo code for them, so I'll be sure to leave that down in the description. But I'm just doing the tips. I'm applying the blue right on the tips, and it's easier if you just go ahead and do the tips first and then come back and do the cover pink, because by that time the tip will be dry, so it's going to be a lot easier, you know, to do it. And I just feel like it goes by faster as well if you do all the tips and then come back and do all the pink all at once. Alrighty, so after I finish doing this pinky, I am going to go back and apply a little bit more on them, just because once it dries you can see that it's a little bit patchy and I need more color on some of them. So I went back and applied a little bit right over what we already have there. And then after that, we're going to go in with the Cover Rose by Mia Secret, which is my favorite cover color. And actually today, whenever I was using it, I had a bigger container of the Cover Pink by Mia Secret, and I accidentally mixed it with my Cover Rose, so I need to make sure that I ordered a new one pretty soon. But I'm just doing a bead closer to the cuticle area, brushing it down towards the tip, making sure that I blend it really good right in the middle, so it's not just a really, you know, harsh ombre. You want them to just blend really good. And then as always, I'm gonna go back in and do some of the clear. You can either do clear acrylic, or or like I do it, I use the Mia Secret pink because it's really translucent, so you can't really tell that it's pink. But whatever you want to use, again, you can either use clear to encapsulate it, or you can use the Mia Secret pink, whatever you want to use or whatever works for you. So again, we do the blue tip, we do the cover color, which is the Cover Rose by Mia Secret, and then I'm going back in and encapsulating that with the Mia Secret pink, which is a translucent color. Again, we just place that Cover Rose right in the middle, closer to the cuticle area, brush it down towards the tip, and then, or not all the way towards the tip, but like in the middle, but going in the direction of the tip, if that makes sense. And then doing another bead, making sure that you wipe around the cuticle area really good. And you do want to make sure that you do not brush it all the way to the tip, because of course you want it to be a two-toned and you want it to blend really well in the middle. If you brush it all the way towards the tip, it's going to be more pink than it would be blue. So make sure that you also don't use a lot of that cover color. Alrighty, so again, we grab a bead, we're going to place it closer to the cuticle area, pat it down, and as you can see, whenever I pat it down, I'm pushing it up towards the cuticle and then just blending it right in the middle. I'm going to grab another bead and do the same thing. You want to make sure that you don't just place the acrylic right on the cuticle, place it right below it and then just pat it down, you know, towards the cuticle whenever you're brushing it. And then as always, make sure that you brush really gently, because you don't want all the cover color to go all the way towards the tip, because you don't want there to just be a lot of pink. After that, I'm going to go in with the Mia Secret Pink, and I'm just going to encapsulate those two colors together. And as you can see, it looks really good. And then as always, I cannot stress it enough, but make sure that you clean around the cuticle area really good to make sure that you don't get lifting. But again, for our colors, we're using this blue glow in the dark powder. Again, I just mixed a clear acrylic with the blue glow in the dark powder. And then for the cover color, I'm using the Mia Secret rose color, and I get that one from Amazon. And then I'm also using my Mia Secret pink acrylic, which is like a translucent color. You can't really tell that it's pink, and this is the one that I always use. And then for my brush, I'm using my Alpha brush in a number 9, and I do have a promo code for them, so again, I'll leave that down in the description. So same thing as the other hand, we're going to go ahead and do all of the tips. Once we're done with the tips, we're going to come back and do the pink, and then we're going to encapsulate them with the other translucent pink. Alrighty, so after that, we're going to go ahead and reshape the nails. As always, I'm using my 100 nail file. And again, we're just reshaping the nails. You want to make sure that you do not skip this step because once you apply the acrylic, it does take away from your shape. They're not going to be that perfect square or coffin or stiletto. They're going to be more rounded. So make sure that you always go back and reshape the nails. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with my fine drill bit and we're going to be following the acrylic. As always, I start around the cuticle area, making sure that I file from the right side over to the left side, just going back and forth until I'm able to see where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. And then with the belly of my drill bit, I just follow the rest of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And remember what I said earlier, if you're only filing to make sure that you smooth out the nail a little bit, like I'm doing here to where I don't have to file off too much, then you use a fine drill bit. But if your nails are really thick and you have to thin them down a little bit, then I recommend using a medium drill bit. Now if you're removing gel polish or if the nails are just super thick, then you would use a coarse drill bit, or even whenever you're removing like encapsulated glitter or something like that, then you would use a coarse drill bit. But for this, if you don't have to remove a lot of gel polish, or if you're not removing a lot of product when you're filing, then all you need is a fine drill bit. And then also, as you can see, I file a little bit underneath the nail because a lot of the time acrylic will run under the nail, so you can make sure that you get that off if there is acrylic underneath the nail. And then as always, focus around that cuticle area, making sure that the acrylic is really sealed, because if not, any little moisture that gets trapped underneath the nail, it will cause the nail to lift. So again, make sure you go around that cuticle area, starting from the right side, going around to the left side, just going back and forth. And also remember that it's really important that you always keep that drill moving. You don't want to leave it into one spot for too long, because it is going to cause friction and it's going to cause your client's nail to burn. So make sure you keep it moving at all times. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go in with a buffer and we're just going to buff all of the nails. As always, this is just to get rid of any of the scratches left from your e-file or your hand file. So we want to make sure that the nails are really smooth. And as always, I run my thumb over the top of the nail to make sure that it's nice and smooth. If not, I just go back and buff a little bit more. And once we're done with this, we're going to go ahead and dust the nails off and wipe them off with an alcohol wipe, or of course you can have your client go wash their hands, whatever works for you. Alrighty, so once you wipe the nails off, I'm going to go ahead and apply some bling. As you can see, the nails look really good. We didn't have to use any polish at all. It was all acrylic. So now I'm just going to apply the bling. As always, I'm using my Mia Secret gel resin, my wax pencil, and I'm applying some bigger pieces. And then I'm also applying some SS6 and SS12, which are the smaller AB rhinestones. Again, this is my Mia Secret gel resin, the one that I always use for my bling, and it works really good for me. And then also for this index finger, we're going to be using some caviar. So I'm going ahead and doing my IBD gel top coat. We're going to do a thin layer of that, and then I'm also going to apply some bling, which I'm going to do like scattered around, just a few on the nail. After that, while the top coat is still wet, again, we do this while the top coat is wet, we get a cuticle pusher or whatever tool you want to use and just sprinkle that caviar over the top of the nail, making sure that you move your client's finger or turn your client's finger over to the sides to make sure that you get a full coverage. After that, we're going to go ahead and cure this for 60 seconds, and I'm going to go ahead and do the top coat on the rest of the nails as well. But again, once we've done with this, we're going to go ahead and put that hand under the light for 60 seconds so they can cure. Alrighty, so we're going to do the same thing on the other hand, except for this time we're going to do the bling on the index finger and the caviar on the ring finger. So I applied my Mia Secret gel resin, and I'm applying my big pieces with the wax pencil. And then also you will see me spray the activator on the nails, which is the Mia Secret gel resin activator. And all that does is just literally dry the glue, because since it is a gel consistency, it's going to take it a little bit longer to dry, but it's not necessary. It will dry on its own, but again, it's just going to take a little bit longer. But I do recommend it because I feel like it makes the bling last longer. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and do the IBD gel top coat on the ring finger. While it's still wet, we're going to go in and apply the bling. So we're just going to scatter a few around, and then after that, with the cuticle pusher, we're going to pick up the caviar and just sprinkle it over the top of the nail, making sure that you turn your client's finger to make sure that you get a full coverage over the whole nail. Alrighty, so I'm doing the top coat, and then after that we're going to go ahead and put this one under the light for 60 seconds as well. And then as you can see, after you apply the caviar, it takes away from the shape. So I go back and just gently reshape that nail, and after that I go in and dust it off, and then do a top coat around the perimeter of the nail, and then a little bit over the top, and just wiping it off with my finger. And what that does is basically just make that top coat sink into the nail. That way it's not taken away from the actual caviar, because if you just do like a full top coat over the caviar, it's literally gonna look like melted plastic. So again, we just gently go in and reshape that nail to get our shape back, and then dust it off, and then come back and apply the top coat around the edges and just a tiny bit over the top of the actual caviar, but then you wipe it off with your fingering. When you're wiping it off, you're not literally just wiping the whole thing off. I promise that it literally kind of just sinks into like in between the caviar. After that, we're just going to go ahead and put this one back under the light, And here is the final look. They turned out really pretty. It's just enough bling, and that's just so cute. And again, these will glow in the dark. I wasn't able to get a picture, but they will glow in the dark. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at GetNail32, and I'll see you guys next time.